I think South Korea and Japan are really amazing as crypto markets, basically because, I mean, the most important thing, they got big communities, right? They've got a lot of people that like to buy crypto and hold crypto, but also they have this very, very stable and very positive and sort of reliable long-term outlook in terms of regulation and sort of the politics around crypto. Unlike some other places where there's like a risk it could get banned or there's sort of resistance, these countries is very, pro-innovation, right? And that feels great as a crypto project, thinking about where do you want to sort of put your eggs, right? Where do you want to risk it long term? I think these are very good places. And then finally, there's just great developer communities as well, which is important. So I think basically the old school model of DAOs that people have been trying for the last many years, it basically doesn't scale. Like, it just gets too big and then it stops being possible to have so many people coordinate. And the solution to this is what we are basically now introducing. I mean, that's also what I'm here in Korea promoting, right? And it's called sub-DAOs, right? So what you have to do is you have to sort of split up the complexity. So it's not all in one place, but you actually have, so that in the same ecosystem, you can have many different smaller DAOs with their own tokens, their own communities, their own decisions, right? And then they can specialize. So this way, everything doesn't get overly complex as you get bigger. You just get more sub-DAOs, and then they each take care of their own little sort of piece of the pie that they are the specialists in. And I think this approach actually can scale and can become very decentralized and still, maintain a large scale without failing. So I think that's what's going to happen for DAOs and how they're going to grow. And so Endgame is this big transformation that primarily revolves around sub-DAOs and basically setting Maker up for long-term growth. And so phase one, that's like what we call the beta launch. Basically, that's sort of preparing, setting the stage, preparing for this transformation. Phase two is like the full launch. That's the moment when the sub-DAOs launch and the sub-DAO tokens, they launch, and users can start staking to get them for free, right? So the way it works is you just need to be a user of the system and you have to basically take your DAI stablecoin, upgrade it, and then after upgrading it, you can stake it, and then you can get a sub-DAO token. You get it for free as yield. And then the key question is, which sub-DAO do you want to get? Because there's going to be many different ones. They will all launch at the same time. So this is how this specialization occurs, right? The communities can sort of self-organize. People who are into real assets and finance, they can all stake to get those sub-DAO tokens, and then they can focus on that in their governance. And people who are into innovation and DeFi, they can stake to get SparkDAO, which is another of these sub-DAOs that we are here also educating about in Korea. And so what we also found is actually in Korea, a lot of Koreans, they're very excited about SparkDAO. So this is likely going to be also a sub-DAO that sort of helps organize the Korean community and become sort of the gateway into how we can, more effectively be able to interact with Korea and the opportunities in Korea. Because if you really want to do that the right way, you got to have actual Korean, right? You got to have the people that know how to do it. And the thing is, sub-DAOs allow this specialization and this ability to understand what's happening on the ground, and which is like the benefit of being small, yet it's combined with the benefit of a massive ecosystem like Maker, right? So you get sort of the best of both worlds. And I think once we see that in action, it's gonna just like change the industry, right? Because it's gonna fix some of these really fundamental problems that we've been running into all the time in the past. SPK is the token for SparkDAO that I just talked about. That is this DeFi and innovation focused sub-DAO. And so really what they bring to the table for the ecosystem is, it means now there is a dedicated token for those who specifically want to do governance and community around the really cutting edge innovation, right? So it means that, instead of having to be an expert in everything and then get super confused and not be clear about how you're supposed to vote, we can just have the people who just know something about DeFi and want to learn about DeFi. Now they can focus on this token, and that's going to make it a lot, again, like easier for them, right? It's not going to be so confusing because they don't have to be an expert in everything. They can just focus on this specialization of SparkDAO. And the same thing for the Korea market, right? And just in general, if you're Korean, if you don't speak English, it's going to be a hard time for you to like go into some random sub-DAO, right? SparkDAO is like a place where you know there's going to be other Koreans, so you know that you can talk to others in Korean, right? And it's all about making the, participating in a DAO a lot more easy and accessible and not so frustrating. Another really interesting thing about SparkDAO specifically is you can actually already farm it now. So already now, if you use Spark Protocol, which is this new, very innovative, cutting-edge lending engine, then if you use it today to borrow with, or you deposit ETH, you already start pre-farming some SPK tokens. I think what we have been going through in this industry with the last bull run and then just like the total collapse and humiliation of the industry, it's like, it's the natural cycle of everybody gets excited and then there's a bunch of hot air and a bunch of nothing basically that people throw money at, and you got scammers and taking advantage of the situation, right? The reality is that there really wasn't that much in crypto the whole time, right? And what's important is instead of focusing on chasing the hot fad and pumping and all this stuff, we need to focus on building real things that have real value. And the market now understands this. So crypto isn't going to come back. DeFi isn't going to come back until we start building stuff that's actually useful, right? And, I think the main thing that's going to bring this to the table is going to be Maker sub-DAOs, right? Because Maker is the project that basically, we're the only project that has real growth currently, right? The DAI stablecoin grew by 800 million in the last month. So we have that growth and we have that momentum. And that's because we have developed that capacity to build real stuff with blockchain, right? Real products, real technology, right? Actual innovation that isn't just speculation. And then what we're doing with sub-DAOs is now we are taking that and we're sort of packaging it in these easy to access new tokens that we will then be basically giving away for free through staking. So the whole ecosystem can get access to these and get to be a part of this. And I think that's just going to bring a completely new dynamic to the table, right? That's going to open up for a type of exponential growth and, innovation explosion that this time isn't going to be, a bunch of hot air that turns out to be nothing. This time it's going to be real, and that's because that's what Maker brings to the table, right? We know how to make sure it's kept that way. And then the whole industry, the whole community, that's where all the passion, all the excitement is. And I think we're going to see a lot of that start basically interacting positively with Maker and with these sub-DAO tokens.